I got you a gift. I know it's a little bit early, but it
You
just
didn't have
came
to do
in.
that.
Nah, it just
You
came
didn't
in.
have to
I
do that, man.
I figured I'd give it to you now.
What's this?
It's Big Chungus.
What is Big Chungus?
Do you like it?
I don't even have a PS4. What is Big Chungus? Is this a joke?
Hey everybody, this is Phil from Zaid Comics. Welcome. Trickle into the chat, everybody. I tweeted this out, so if you guys are following me, retweet it on Twitter so all of our good friends could come and watch the show. We're going to be on for about a half hour, 45 minutes, talking once again to an awesome comic creator, one of my good buddies, a fellow writer, a man that is, doing so much in writing in general. Now he's got another book that is being crowdfunded, an awesome comic. We're going to get right into it. But first, we have Chimera in the chat. He said, I still can't believe Phil called me short last night. It's true. I did. And skinny. I did say that, Chimera. We got Dragon Multimedia LLC in the chat. What is up? Admiral Wackass, of course, always here. He says he'll be back. He's grabbing some food. I got some Big Chungus shout outs in the chat. And yeah, this is going to be a great show talking about the nitty gritty of crowdfunding and writing. And here's the man himself, fully attired in Halloween spirit, the man behind the Kill Journal and so much more, Adam Lawson. Look at this freak.
Yes, this is. I know. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on, Phil. I wanted to wear this. These masks have been a year in the makings, from when we first launched the campaign. Or even longer than that, because we started prep in July on these of last year, and 26 of these just went out in the mail yesterday to backers, and so this is the awesomeness, and it's a true, plastic resin piece. This is not some styrofoam deal here. This is what I would use on set if I
Yeah,
was
that is
directing
amazing.
the movie of it.
That's
Yeah,
so cool, dude.
yeah.
Yeah, take it off. I want to see kind of can we see the inside too? Can we see the inside of it?
Yeah, so you can see the inside of the mask. You can see it's a fiberglass, but it's a safe fiberglass. It's a composite fiberglass, so it can touch your skin and it's no problem.
Yeah.
Strap and then some padding in here so it can actually rest on your face and not wreck it. And if somebody needs more, you can easily just add another stick if they want it, however you want, however it fits on your face. And for some of the folks, these are varying sizes because they're handmade, like how wide or tight that is. You can also stretch it, put it in clamps, come back in a day, and you have a slight resizing. But this is the real deal. This is droppable. This is not on cement,
so cool.
but you have a real rad piece that if you wear this out on Halloween, you will turn heads for sure.
That's going to be, I mean, all you just need is some, anabolic steroids, right?
And a machete, and you're good to go. This is complete.
Jacked out of your mind. Yeah, I would say if you were a little bit more jacked, that would be a self-insert character.
I know, right? I know. So this was what the top tier backers got on the Kill Journal.
Yeah,
was this mask, and then these leather bound books that are awesome.
Beautiful.
Jason Krager's awesome art, and our favorite artist Max Dallo also did a short story in here. But these huge, beautiful pages. Of course, this has been like a nightmare getting it here because it got stuck in Singapore because the crew got COVID, and it's been, and so it's like shipping is already hard, and then add COVID to the crew, so delayed it 2 months. It's like, anyways, but they are arriving shortly. They're arriving shortly. I get updates. So
I'm so excited, man. I saw in there one of the pages of Shay's story that she wrote.
Oh yeah, yep.
Also.
So Shay's story, this really cool Nigerian artist did her lines and colors. Really cool guy, and I mean she delivered a really impressive looking script.
Yeah.
Like she got photograph frames of every single one of these panels and laid it out, and it really shows through in the quality of the storytelling on her chapter. Um, and Michael Okorokaho, I hope I'm saying that right. His last name is Nigerian, so I might have been butchered that last name, but really a
Yeah.
talent. So
So cool. Yeah, someone actually called you out saying that you're taking Shay's stick of cosplaying on stream with that mask.
Dragon. Yes, I mean that's what it's gonna be about. I've got to cosplay my own stuff. I can and not steal
Yeah,
from her. My own stuff.
that's right.
Yeah, I know she kind of needs one of these.
Yeah, yeah. When you do another Kill Girl,
Yeah, I know for sure.
that'd be
Um,
perfect. Let's see who else we got. Leg kick in the chat. What's up, Mr. Gary Bruce? Thanks for chilling. Tentacle Pentacle, my boy. Yes, awesome artist, Tentacle Pentacle. Love seeing your stuff on Twitter again, brother. And yeah, so let's get into this. I mean, Adam, you've been on the show. I've been on many streams with you as well.
totally.
You're over on Pop XP sometimes, hanging out with those guys as well. So tell, for those that may not have seen you before on my channel, just tell a little bit about yourself and your writing background, a little bit what you do for a living, and kind of why you're tackling comic books.
Yeah, so I'm a television showrunner and writer for a living. And I've done it for years and years. I've been working in television. I came up as a first AD and as a producer, and I'd written a couple of movies. One called The Game of Assassins, another one called Game Therapy. Why game always ended up in the titles,
You
though
like games.
it's right. Though Game of Assassins really what Lionsgate retitled it. It was called The Gauntlet, so I can't be fully held responsible.
Yeah.
And then Game Therapy was another movie I did for Universal that they came to me with the title already. They're like, it's called Game Therapy, and figure out the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so that's the world I had come from. I have a deep love of comics and always had since my childhood. And it was interesting. I was sitting down with a buddy of mine who writes for Disney animation, and he's written for Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, the whole deal. And he says, what I've had to accept is that I'm not actually an artist. I sell kids toys. That's really what I do, and I write, and I do that through writing animation. And he says, and at first that was painful, but now I realize that's what it is. And he says, if I was going to do like something artistic that was from my soul, I would do a comic book. And he just said this to me. He didn't know I was doing comics or anything. A good friend for a long time. And I said, that's what I decided to do too. Because when you get to make your own thing with its.
All right. Am I freezing or is Adam freezing?
I'm looking good. You're looking good to me.
All right, cool.
Are we back?
Yeah, I think we're back. I just didn't know if we were hear you. All right.
Yeah. And like this was a story like the eighth, my first book that I did, had been sitting in my mind for a couple of years, and I felt like, I really want to do this as a comic book because I just want to make this character, I want to make this story, and without some of the complications of group creativity, right, which comes at a studio level, right? I was writing an interactive series for Netflix for a while, and it's like you can be on it for months and get, there's mandate changes at the company that change it, and so, which is nothing wrong with that. That's what that job is, and you shouldn't hate it. That's never going to be different. But there's something special about being able to craft your own thing and your own tale, and also working with artists who are sitting at a desk like Maxie, who we both love, who's scratching away at your story. That's really like resonated with my heart. And it also, for myself, I had this moment. I was doing Snakes on a Plane, the music video, and Sam Jackson came to set, and he was reading 100 Bullets by Brian Azzarello.
Yeah. Wow.
And in fact, in the shot, he's reading that comic. And it was of his own personal, and I looked at that and I was talking to Sam about it, and I was like, damn, if that's cool enough for him, that's got to be cool enough for me, right?
Yeah.
Because he's about as cool as you can get.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know how it goes up from that. So I said, I got to get this figured out. So I went to the comic book shop afterwards, and I bought 100 Bullets. And after I read it, I was like, this is what's really in my heart. It's not capes and cowls. So I do like some of those, but it's this multiplicity of other stories that are available in the world of graphic novels. And I remember Rizzo's art, on that book also too. It's just like what is this style and these panel choices that were just so incredible. And that like turned me on to where I was like, I'm going to do this at some point.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit, and that was the point.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been working on the 8th for a couple of years, just with one of my artists who had hired for other things, and I was just paying out of my own pocket. And then I said, well, my TV show got canceled. Thank you, pandemic. So I guess let's do these comics. And then I've been just hooked. I've really just been hooked. It's really been fulfilling. And now have a Shopify store and a small publishing company. And Phil, we sell maybe something like maybe 4 or 5 books a day. Now
Yeah.
the 8th in the Kill Journal.
That's awesome.
Long term. So it's really a fun. It feels like hey, when somebody's read something like that, you're like, oh man, that feeling of that connection. So that's what got me into it. So it maybe isn't the thing that pays the bill, isn't pays the bills, but it certainly enriches my life for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's the comics. You could do whatever you want, and I used to listen a lot to writer Max Landis before he got canceled.
Max Landis, amazing.
Yeah, and he was so enthusiastic about storytelling and making movies and writing stories. He actually did some comics as well. Just the way he speaks when he's talking about this stuff is so exciting. Similarly to Billy Tucci, when Billy's talking about comics, it's like, okay, I just got done talking to Billy. Now I want to go make this stuff, and if you had any doubt about making comics, talk to Billy Tucci, because he'll reinvigorate you on that. But Max would always say, working in film, and you're the writer, once that script leaves your hands, that's anything, the interpretation of the actor, the director, the cinematographer, any of those people could change the outcome of the film and alter what your writing is, so
sure.
The end product could be very far from what the words you put on that page were. And I think in comics, you get more control over that, and less variables and less filters for your words to go through, especially if you're someone like us who letters their own stuff. I'm a writer who letters their work, and so are you. And I think that is
totally
a great practice as a writer. You get to be more a part of the project. You get to also do last second editing on the cutting room floor. You're not going through a filter that way, but at the same time, keeping that collaborative effort with the artists that you work with, which is something amazing.
Right. It keeps the creative circle really, really small.
Mm-hmm.
And plus maybe some outside sources. Like I know that you and I send each other stuff, like, hey, Phil, what do you think about this? And you reach out to certain creatives about things along the way. I'll send it to Bancroft or whoever, and you get feedback in a way where, one is you don't have to accept it. But two is a chance to kind of check some of your creative decisions out, right? Like, what am I feeling here on this? Or like, hey, you guys check me on this. Is this saying what I think it is? So it's much more of like a supportive criticism that's coming back, right?
Yeah.
And that's really fun. And I agree with you. Like, if you're going to write comic books, you should learn how to letter. Yep. And Clip Studio is only $50.
Yep.
And it's the most powerful program on earth for $50 that exists. I pay $50 a month for the Adobe Suite, or $50 for Clip Studio once, and you can do everything in it. It's both vector and roster program. It's like, it's mind blowing. It's functionality.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. And I don't mean it's a lot of work. I've now done hundreds of pages, and I've spent lots of time studying it, working on it. But it's not like drawing, which is a craft that takes really a decade to get at a level and requires maybe some inherent talent that some people just don't have. But lettering, if you have a sense of art and you really are passionate, you can create something meaningful with it. And I agree, it's like, it's a way to like handcraft it, right? And I'm sure you're like me, Phil. You're also doing your own pre-press, probably, and your own. You're laying it out in InDesign. You're doing the whole thing, and so like, as a result, like, what's cool is like when that book comes out, it's pretty handmade.
Yeah, for sure. No, totally. And that's the coolest thing. There's some kind of key points to crowdfunding and making a comic that just never get old. And that's one of them, is getting that physical copy, whether it be a proof or the actual book. Also seeing that book in other people's hands. I think another great thing is seeing fan art, because people are going out of their way just because they dig the stuff you're putting out to show an interpretation of theirs out there in the wild, which is so cool. I love that
Yeah,
stuff.
that's right. I know, it's so cool. And I think I felt that too, even like we were talking about like your cup you did, like this
Yeah.
is fun, right? Like it's another way to experience art that you use, you know?
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show. The magic cup that we did, and the mask that you did, and like figures and stuff going forward. We have, from backing all these campaigns, we have a lot of prints. Prints are very easy to put out, but there's a lot of them, and I don't have. You can see the walls in my room right here. I don't have enough space for all the prints that I'm going to be getting. So what I want to do, and Adam as well, is make some unique stuff that that people don't see in other campaigns. And I think you're really, really good at that. But let's see who else is in the chat here. We got some more people. Admiral Wackass is here. Chauncey is here. What is up? Kayla's in the chat. Thanks for tuning in, Kayla.
Love Kayla.
Yeah, of Death Curse Comics. Joseph Ippolito as well. What is it? Soul Curry Alt. What is up? Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hit that like and subscribe. We're gonna be talking about Kids and Monsters now, Adam's newest comic that he's crowdfunding. Tell us about this and where kind of the idea for this, because this concept is really cool. Just striking right from the cover. It's a great, very simple cover that kind of says it all. You have this monster peeking out of this kid's backpack. How did this concept come about?
Yeah, so I think what was, really in my heart for this story and this concept, is this is about um, this idea of being able to reach into a backpack and pull out a monster,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I was playing a storytelling game with my nieces and nephews where there's this idea of pulling it out, a monster out of your backpack. And that kind of stemmed to my days of playing Dungeons and Dragons as a kid. And there was this thing called the sack of holding, where like the mouth of the pack of the pouch was actually into like a pocket dimension.
Yeah.
And if you could pull a monster out, it could help you in times of crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you could have that monster. And so why not, there's this ornamental leather sack from D&D, or there's a backpack in the modern world. And I'm going to reveal on Joe's stream tonight something, speaking of cool products, a product that's being added to this campaign now that we're funded.
Nice.
And I was going to try and Russell and get it in here before this, Phil, but I'm shooting a commercial, so I didn't quite get there. But anyway, but yeah. So and I thought, to myself, as I was thinking about, what are the troubling? Because I like to tie my stories into two things. Okay, one, we've got monsters that come out of backpacks, and that's fun, and I would love that. But then what's troubling as a teenager that you would need monsters for? It's like, well, you can be bullies, but what about if your parents were on the verge of divorce? But what if that? Something truly frightening for a child, that is complicated and is could be the shattering of your world, right?
Yeah.
And a very rude awakening. And so I thought, well, maybe there's a war going on, and that's what spurred into this idea that there are these two worlds, the one that we know and the world within, and the red beasts were trying to rip the two worlds apart so everyone would be miserable, which then that battle became a metaphor for these kids whose parents are struggling and potentially the family could be ripping apart. And so while they are fighting this war with these beasts who are trying to rip the world apart, it's a metaphor for them trying to save their family as well as themselves. And these monsters are their allies in this war. Mm-hmm. And these monsters are customized for each teen who finds one, right? Like for the kids to be able to find a backpack, which inside is a monster's peak, like there's a castle inside of it. Awesome. And they pull them out. But for them to do that, they had to overcome some sort of weakness, right? That they're having to grow up in some way before their eyes are enlightened to be able to see packs.
I really like that, because that's like you're kind of hiding a hero's journey element in there in this story,
right?
Where your hero has to do something then to get this godly weapon, right? In that classic hero's journey, which would be them being rewarded with the backpack and their monster buddy, which is really cool. And that I really love deconstructing stories and kind of finding those key elements that make good stories. That's very, very fun to do. So kudos to you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm always trying to figure out like how can you tie into physical action into an emotional experience, right? Because I think there's one of the struggles sometimes with comic writing, especially for sometimes any folks who are new to writing, is they think that the audience wants to be told about the world. Yeah, if we could just set up the world, except people don't actually want to know about your world. They actually aren't interested in worlds. What they're actually interested in is intention and obstacles, right? Oh no, my family's falling apart. I need to save them. And
Right.
then on that journey, we experience a world.
Exactly.
Then that world has meaning versus it just being like, oh, versus it being just like a history lesson about a world. And I think that, when I was early on, I had this amazing producer. His name was Mark Williams, who was helping me out. And he created Ozark
All right, cool.
on TV. And I would pitch him, and he and I were making this movie together called The Canyon. And whenever I would, as we were location scouting, I would pitch him ideas constantly.
Yeah.
And every time I pitched him a bad one, he would roll the window down on me.
Yeah.
Right? And that was like the answer, no, Adam. And he would always teach me, like, Adam, nobody cares about this world, all these setup crap you're getting into. Nobody cares about your setup.
Yeah.
They need to know stakes immediately and the intention. And I think once I made that change as a writer, also dialogue then stops becoming explaining the world and it becomes reacting to what's happening. So it's moving and motivating versus like feeling like you need to dump something on the audience when you don't have to dump on them anything. Just put them in the seat of your character and they'll explore it as the character
that's
does.
Something too that really takes me as a reader out of comics when there's a lot of world building dump or exposition dump because you see it on the page. If it's a movie and stuff, you can kind of hide it, but you're seeing all these words and it'll take you out of that. But I think another reason that lends to your point is people and readers and watchers want to care about who's in the story because they want to relate to it. A big thing that I learned when starting to write comics is theme is a big thing in storytelling. What is your audience going to connect to? What could they relate to in this world? And if you could find a human aspect to it, then that's your key, and everything will fall into place. That you got to get them to connect.
And how do you get the actions to explain your theme? For example, in this page you can see here Mally and Jinsu. Mally is the girl whose parents are in trouble, and Jinsu becomes her boyfriend. And in a typical teen romance, the story is all about them getting together, right? Yeah. Which actually involves very little growing up and very little maturity. It's just this like fun tension. Whereas this, they get together right away. She's pretty aggressive, and he's like, yeah, I'll take the ride. And then it's about them learning how to be boyfriend and girlfriend while fighting these beasts.
Yeah.
Which thematically ties into their parents who are struggling with their issues, right?
Yeah.
So that way, you realize that as you're building, like you're saying, themes out in your story, that you want to be echoing each other so that the small decisions are echoing the big decisions versus something that is working against your theme or is arbitrary to your theme. I think that's something maybe the most defeating one, because I've backed so many books and you read them, the times you realize, man, this story has some really nice concepts, but the experience of reading it we're at odds. We're introducing lots of characters, introducing lots of world, and they're like, oh no, this book is the setup book, and it's like,
yeah,
it's cool. I've now read the setup book, and I don't need to read book 2 because I didn't, I'm not connected to anyone.
Right.
Maybe introduce a lot of characters. Maybe it deals with it puts in some themes that don't resonate with the overarching narrative. So the theme is like an odd side a sidelight, and as a result, it just I don't know what I'm experiencing. Whereas you think about The Watchmen, I think is one of the most perfectly written books, right? You had this idea that that was so profound in it, where he says, "We have found the Superman, and he's an American,"
Hmm.
right? And when they found Dr. Manhattan, and
Yeah.
that theme resonated with Rorschach, who was dealing with the end of the world, right? Like the demise of the American Empire, and these really subtle tie-ins, and like the alien crashing at the end, how that would bring the American Empire together, like
Right.
really well layered themes that all echoed each other.
Yeah, and even with the comedian, where he's the symbol of America, basically there, and how
Yep.
that could be subverted into such a demented thing, with
Just a
humanity.
joke, right?
Yeah,
Right.
sure. No, that's an awesome example. Yeah, I mean, I could talk storytelling with you for hours and learn a lot too. I always love talking with you. Um, but yeah, so back to this. Look at this art is awesome. You got Maxi Dallow on art here, and the colorist is Mike Spicer. Is that his name?
Yeah, Mike Spicer,
Yeah,
who did um,
a
two
bunch
of
of
my
art.
favorite,
Yeah,
some big books: Murder Falcon, which might be one of my favorite graphic novel in like 10 years, and then Wonder Woman: Dead Earth.
amazing. Yeah, if
Right?
you are a fan of Daniel Warren Johnson, who's a local guy over here, he's actually uh, has been to my arcade, the arcade that I work at. So I talked to him about
Awesome.
that at C2E2. Awesome,
He
awesome
is
art.
amazing, Daniel Warren
Mhm.
Johnson. Right? I feel like that's like the most him and Sean Gordon Murphy and
Yeah,
James Herron. These guys are like the bleeding edge of comics, right?
it's so cool to see Daniel Warren Johnson taking off too, because where I found him, I just saw him doing crazy commissions online, right? He just does these
Interesting.
amazing pieces. And then
Totally.
when Murder Falcon came out, I'm like, oh, I got to get this. So I was collecting that, and then I heard he's got that Wonder Woman thing. I'm like, that's so cool. And now he's doing at Marvel, he's doing Beta Ray Bill, right?
Yeah,
I don't
which
know.
was amazing.
Is Mike coloring that as well?
Yeah. Mike colored that as
Yeah.
well. And I think this defined what he did cool. Like in the end, Wonder Woman like tore out Superman's spine, stuck her lasso through it, and it's now become a mace.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean?
She didn't kill him,
It's
right? Everybody's dead in this world.
That's right,
She's
right.
doing
Well,
like
she
that.
ultimately, I don't want to give too much away in that story, but she comes to his corpse
Yeah,
and takes
right,
that.
right. Yeah,
And it's like, where was that movie? How did we end up with 84 instead of that movie
right.
where she rips out the spine of dead Superman and sticks her lasso through
Hmm.
the vertebrae and makes this like Mason chain? Like,
Yeah,
where was that movie? You
he's
know?
very much so a star right now that is just putting
Totally.
out kick-ass stuff. And you're working with his right-hand man,
Colorist.
his colorist,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, Mike Spicer is just he's just doing, and you can see what he's doing here with Maxi.
yeah,
And I felt like Maxi, and you know Maxi's work, traditional artist, just like Mike, just like James Herron, these guys he works for, very similar styling in the way they draw a page.
yeah.
And when I saw Maxi's work, and I've been wanting to work with Mike, I was just like, these two guys belong together. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah, look at, I mean, the glows on the colors and everything, just so cool. And this is how I think Maxi should be being colored. Just so
yeah.
much texture on these monsters too. Just really, really awesome. All right, let's see who else is in the chat here. We got Rob Arnold, Replicator. What's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in. And Joe M. Sontag. What's up?
Dude.
He's as hailed as not everyone except Rob. I can get, I understand that.
Joe's
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
man. Joe's a good man. So's
yes.
Rob.
Joe's awesome. I'm really excited for his book too.
Me too.
But yes, the great thing I love about your campaign is you have so much art on here, man. You're showing a lot of pages of lettered as well. Amazing letters on here. Everything works really well. I love, as a letterer, doing these different weird bubbles, and
Right.
having them contrast, making a character's voice sound different, even though it's on the page. So that's kick-ass. And let's talk about how big this book is and kind of the format you're going for it, with Kids and Monsters.
Yeah, so it's an A4 sized book, which is kind of like, this, if you can see, like, if you can, let me see if I can get back up. See, like, if this is a standard comic,
Yeah.
this is what the size of the book will be.
Oh, nice.
Is an A4 size. So so instead of like 10.25 by 6.25, it's 11 0.7 by 8.3, so it's a bigger. You get a meatier book. So the cool part is when you open it,
Hmm.
you're just small panels all of a sudden become bigger panels, and the
Yes.
feeling is really immersive. I've been longing to do that in a book. Each one of my books, I always try to do like, hey, here's a leather bound book, here's a
Hmm.
slipcase, but with this one, could I do something that made it big and full, and so when you flipped open the pages, you felt like you were taken into the world. So
Yes.
it's 72 pages. This is volume one. There will be a second volume. Hopefully many more to come, but at least there'll be two. Um, and so it's the oversized, hardcover book for 25 bucks. One, I didn't, layer it with prints and stickers, etc. Instead, it was giving you all the value in the book itself. And I also did a black and white edition of it. I think that Maxi's work belongs to have a book all on its own.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm surprised. So several people have. I shouldn't say I'm surprised. Because I would do this. That people are buying the color and black and white, and I think there's something really special about what that is. When you see the lines that became, before they're colored, it kind of blows your mind in some ways. It's a little more work on the lettering side, but worth it.
Yeah, this is beautiful. I'd say definitely grab both of them just to see that, because the way that Maxi now, I could see him level up because I've worked with him,
From
for
the
a few
beginning,
years
right?
now, and I love seeing him use this, like the white gel pens or the whiteout that he's doing in these trees here. He did a page for me in the silhouette, and it's a splash of the first time you see the bad guy El Dorado in his fully like powered form. He's got the golden jaw, and it's a black background, but his hair is in contrast in white, and it's like, oh, that's just so cool. Just that detail. It's like, I'm getting Frank Miller vibes now, and he's really coming to his own with having fun with the black and white art. It's so cool.
Yeah, that's what I think so too, for sure.
Sweet.
I totally agree.
So I want to know about this guy, the kind of the bad guy with the red mask. How much could you tell us about him?
Yeah, so sure. So this is Blake here. This is his math teacher, who's also this cultist, who
Oh,
is the liaison for the red beasts in the world we know, right?
wow.
And also could potentially be involved with his mother. His mother's like a vice principal at the school, and could be kind of, one of the reasons why there's some, like, the marriage is starting to have some struggles. Dad's getting maybe too involved with work. Mom is maybe flirting a little bit. So it's kind of like, because it's starting to crumble, they've kind of both kind of hid in their separate corners, if you will. And so this guy, without giving away too much of the story, that's his nook, and I won't reveal all his twists and turns.
Yeah.
But he's kind of the leader of the monsters in this world. Whereas we can see at the end of this campaign, you'll see the monster that's the back cover. You can see the woman that leads the red beasts overall. That's the
Oh
big
wow. Cool.
arch
That's
villain.
awesome. All right. 24 Eyes, what's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in. Love seeing you guys in the chat. And Papa Kenesu, what's up? These weird names. Also, Page One Comics, Jimmy Riz, what's up?
Whoa, Jimmy! Yeah. I just
Yeah.
got your DM, Jimmy. I hit you back.
Yeah, Jimmy is
Yeah.
awesome. Jimmy's actually working on the story that I wrote for John Malin for Graveyard Shift. He's inking that story, and it's
Yeah.
looking amazing. I can't wait for people to see that.
I am pumped.
It's going to be. I think that's some of the best work that I put out. Like, that story's going to be awesome. And I think the team that we have, Tommy Patterson and Jimmy, it's just going to blow people away. But this is looking awesome. This is not just Kids and Monsters. You have an exclusive ash can for this campaign. Let's talk about that. Nail and Goo, crazy cool cover. Your stuff, it kind of, even though it's different artists, it has a similar feeling from the 8th. Like, this cover reminds me of the 8th, and it reminds me of the simplicity of the Kids and Monsters cover. And going on to Nail and Goo, let's talk about this. I really love the feel.
Yeah, I think the type of covers I like the most are not necessarily like everybody in armor, standing, charged ready to go. Nothing
Uh,
wrong with those covers. Some people love those, so
yeah,
it's not
sure.
wrong with it. But maybe it's not the ones that draw me in. I like the covers that give you almost a sense of mystery of like, what is that?
Hmm.
As it draws me in. And so Nail and Goo is a campaign exclusive Ashcan, and it's a way for me to bring to you guys and seed out a really cool story that we'll see much more of later on. To do this campaign special. Ashcan, and it's set in the same town as Kids and Monsters, so it's a sister story, if you will.
Nice.
And these monsters will at some point interact with each other down the road. But if anybody was paying attention, Kill Journal and the Eighth are also set in Lovelock as well. It's my
Nice.
castle rock, if you will.
For sure.
And so Nail is a monster who crash lands as a child near the town, and a young Korean girl named Gu collects him. And he first, when she first meets him, he can eat anything. What's one of his powers? He can consume anything. He has this symbiotic aspect of him. Right? He has these plants that grow on his back that he can extend into like tentacles,
Hmm.
and he has this connection to living things and can consume and digest anything, including metal. And so that's how he got the name Nail, as she would feed him those. And now she's grown up, he's grown up, and he's trying to fit into this world that is rejecting him. And then there's this terrifying bounty hunter that comes from his past, which starts to explain the mystery of how he got there. And he has to fight tooth and nail, no pun intended, to hold on to what he has. So, he is this organic character, and then his friend Goo, she is an ultra techie girl. And this is kind of an interesting flashback moment where he thinks back to some of the moments in his life and the story.
Yeah, I really like this. Very graphic and telling a story within itself. In the background here, see him eating the nails, some badass chick, some high tech stuff. Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, real fun stuff, man, and very original. I love the title, Nail and Goo, and the premise of their names. That's just so on point with the stuff that I'm into. And it seems like these characters are going to be around for a while as well.
I hope so. I hope so.
Going forward.
Yeah.
And
I think I wanted to put, and I think as some of the more of these pages get done here on the Ashcan,
mm-hmm.
I'll also probably be sticking them more in here. I have line art for it, but Magnaz, who's doing this book, he does the lines and colors, and he's really a painter at heart, high concept fantasy painter, who has a love of comics. And so he's somebody who thinks through his colors versus through his lines, like Maxi, right?
Yeah.
So his line art pages look very simple, and then they come out like this after he paints it, right? Because he's really building just like a little skeleton, and then and which is fine, because every artist has what makes them special, right? And in their way. But amazing Colombian artist. In fact, who knows Irene, from Rennie Draws.
Yeah.
And her buddy, AC and Nick, they know him and are friends with him in Bogota. So I didn't know they knew him. It's just this random connection. I've been hiring him for about.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah. Great guy. But so yeah, so this and Kids and Monsters is also available on Kickstarter, but the Nail and Goo Ashcan is only available here for Indiegogo.
Oh, cool! Yeah, exclusive. That's awesome.
Yeah, eat that metal. Thank you.
All right, and we'll talk about this. This is amazing.
So here's a better look at it. You can see it here. There's a really on the screen is a pretty decent color interpretation. It's a little warmer colors in real life. But this is a fully custom sculpted, printed, assembled, and hand-painted collectible figurine. This is a one-of-a-kind. There's just one on Earth. This is Mally and her monster, Rage, this berserker barbarian.
Look at that, coming out of the backpack. That's so cool.
Coming out of the backpack, she's got her spike ball that she uses to crush beasts with. And Mally's got the hammer of Torhild. So a weapon she finds in the world within. You can see this is part of the obsidian forest down below. And so this is, I did it with the 8th, and there's something nice about building a beautiful 3D collectible item. It's not cheap. It's a true collectible. You'll have the only one on Earth, which makes me a little sad, but is a nice way to give something that makes crowdfunding unique, right? You can have this super cool special something that's one of a kind, and that's it.
It's the quality looks great on that, man, and that is
Yeah.
just what I was talking about earlier. How you are doing things that are out of the box. You're taking chances, and that's what I love about crowdfunding. You could throw something up like this on there, or like the cups that we did, and do something out of the
Totally.
box to catch people's attention. And I think that is somewhere in the direction that I definitely want to be going. Because I mean, you look at my room, and this place is filled with statues, and I want to see
Yeah.
statues of our characters. And this is just kick ass. You know, when you were
Yeah.
having this made and painted up, you sent me some of the early images of it, and I was just freaking out. This is so cool. The concept, you know, her coming out of the bag is just really badass, and it's something that kids could get excited about. You know, this is
Right.
really, really fun story and concept that could take off. And it's up to you guys in the chat. If you guys are digging this, definitely jump on here and grab a copy of the book. You also have a t-shirt. Look at that with some of the cover. That's sick.
Yep.
T-shirts.
Yes. I know, and I have a Lost Pages t-shirt. I'm wearing my Mary Boys t-shirt today.
Heresy. How dare you,
Yep.
sir?
I know. I have the wrong one on. I know. It was funny. I wore this, and I was scouting for this commercial I'm doing right now, and my director was like, "Dude, what's that about?" And I'm producing this spot, and he's like, "What's that about?" And as I get to an indie comic, and he's like, "Oh, you're into that stuff." He's like, "Hey, listen, do you know about this book, Four Kids Walk into a Bank?" I'm like, "I own that." He's like, "Okay, you're in now." You know, there's something about there's kind of wearing your tribe. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Your special thing. Because Lost Pages, they've been have to me on that T-shirt a bunch of times, and it's like, and I also want to build something that maybe is slightly different with the art styling than maybe just maybe a panel art or something in it. So I tried to craft something that feels a little more integrated into the shirt.
No,
So
yeah, it's beautiful.
hopefully that does the trick. We did really well with the 8th. If you can imagine, I sold almost 100 T-shirts on the 8th.
Wow.
But yeah, so I'm liking it so far at making these shirts. It's really fun.
No, yeah, this is so cool, and that's what it's all about. You know, getting it out there, and it would be so cool to see one of these shirts in the wild, and especially when we start doing conventions, that's going to be really, really fun. That's going to be really
I know. I am excited for that day, right? I mean, I'm really actually longing for that day when it's like you're there at a table next to me,
Yeah.
next to Joe, next to the
Mhm.
whole team, and it's like it's gonna be kind of a dream come true.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you're doing this, you know, you're obviously still working, scouting out commercial stuff, doing show stuff, and you just had a kid as well, which was awesome. So
Amazing. Yep.
you're getting stuff done and making this happen. Now, I don't remember seeing this image. Maybe I just never scrolled down this far, but this is cool. So this is the chick you were talking about, huh?
Yeah. So that's our arch villain, and I don't want to reveal too much, or I'll kind of spoil the plot and twist that kind of comes here at the end of this volume. But that's our arch villain, who runs the Red Keep, where the Red Beasts are, and you can kind of see these guys with the masks and bat. That's our guy Blake. But then the Red Beasts come in different shapes and sizes. You see those two earlier on.
Yeah.
Those are like the sort of the foot soldiers, but then there is a Hydra and some other fun versions amongst these beasts.
So cool. And here's the respective monsters to the kids as
That's right.
well. As
Yeah.
Guys.
This is Maxie and I's first image we did together, and also with Mike Spicer.
Yeah.
To build out our whole, we've done sketch work, before this on all the characters, but to put everybody together and then to color it all together. Mike and I went the rounds a couple times on getting this right, to be like, these are the colors that matter the most. And in general, Mike, it's like, you send him pages. He doesn't send you anything. You just he's radio silent, and then you just get pages back, and they're just epic. And so is that really a notes process, unless something you're really just trying to check to see if everybody got colored, if these main characters are all colored in keeping their consistency.
Yeah.
Is all I really check for, because every time I drops a page, it's like, oh, that's way better than I thought of. I'm not going to get into why would I give
Yeah,
this
there's
notes?
no
But
reason
it's just
to
like
throw it
I'll
out.
just I'll make it worse for sure.
Yeah,
So
that must be something with the Daniel Warren Johnson's friends, because Maria was the same way. You have Maria the script, and then you don't hear from her for 3 weeks, and then she has 10 pages for you.
I know.
And then I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Are you
Your
doing
mom?
this?
Do I have to drive over to her house? Like, what's going on?
No, and Maria is so cool. I know Mike is coloring for her as well too.
Yeah.
Her Marvel Voices
Mhm.
stuff,
The covers
and
are really great.
yeah, she's really a special talent. I think she is. She did this bit for us here in the Kill Journal. She did these amazing pages, right?
Yeah.
Just the detailing like this, all these floats here from Mardi Gras floats. Just pretty
That's
amazing
so
what she
fun.
does.
Yeah. I can't wait to get my
But
hands on that.
yeah. But Maria is same deal. It's like you hand it off, and then when you get it back, it's not really any notes to give because they did their own thing with it. And if you try to like tweak it, you're gonna definitely make it worse. So just
Yeah.
go with it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Kids and Monsters, everybody, check this campaign out. It is I've been looking forward to this one. I'm looking forward to the Kill Journal, just because Adam's putting so much work into here. And another thing is, you really understand the value of a full story. This isn't 48 pages, it's over 80 pages of story. I'm assuming beginning to end you're going to have that full story, just like the other products you put out. And that's really
yeah.
important to me in comics, and especially crowdfunding, because we're not doing a monthly thing. We want people to have that full story and experience everything we're putting into these worlds.
I agree with you. It's tough. Like when you see 40, I have 40-page comic. Like I
Yeah.
have Brett Booth's art. He has this book out on Kickstarter called the Anybody's, I think, or Everybody's, and it's
Yeah,
like
something like that.
yeah. And I just saw it the other day, and I was like, 40 pages, and then you wait 8 months, and then it's like, well, you just really got into the story like a bit, and then it's another year wait, and so it's a little hard, I think, to keep momentum unless you're saying like, if you can deliver that every couple of months, that's a different conversation. But when it's coming every 8 months or once a year or something, you kind of need a little bit more to chew, I think. It gets yeah, and so this is a complete arc and story that you can experience here that sets up volume 2, but we don't leave these hanging in the story. This has a really really fully impactful story. So so it's Kids and Monsters. Back at like I think with Phil, like we pour our hearts into these things,
For sure.
and we feel like we over deliver, right? We feel like we give you everything we can give you. So.
Yeah, and we have to. It's we want these books in as many people's hands as possible.
Right.
Because for me, I love reading comics. I love hearing
I
stories.
love it.
And when you get your hands on a story that just really hits home for you and inspires you, that's what I'm going for. I want to do that to other people. I want to hopefully bring out their creativity, so they could make their own stuff, whatever they're putting out, whatever they're creating. I think creating something in your lifetime is one of the most important things that you could do, to service the world, and yourself.
Totally.
It's very important. Let's see here. Glacier Mountain says this book is a huge crossover potential. Super excited to see where this is going. Also, congrats on being a dad, Adam. Welcome to the club.
Thank you. Yeah, it is good. My little Oliver, I just love him so much. It makes doing this all much more meaningful. So
Yeah, well, before we take off here, I wanted to watch your trailer, and then I'll give a little update of what's going on with us.
Okay.
So let's bring this up here to this. Let's share this.
I started seeing the cracks just after Mom and Dad began fighting. They were thin as pencils at first. Then they got bigger. And things started to disappear. Beasts are pouring out of them. Beasts trying to rip the world in two. Just like my family is being ripped in half by my parents. But we're not alone. There are keeps shaped like backpacks hidden in the world within. They hold monsters for those willing to fight. Here, monsters are not the things to be afraid of, but embrace. Monsters are the ones who are going to save us.
That was awesome. I love the voiceover work, man, and everything going on with that.
Thank you. That's Chris. That's the fabulous Chris Wu. He's been an actor in a couple of my TV shows. Great guy, and he does me a solid and does the voice work. So it really,
Rick,
it's
that's
really
so
nice.
cool. All right, let's do a little refresh here because I'm pretty sure we had a backer. I think Admiral Wackass in the chat said that he grabbed
dude, Admiral Wackass, bro.
Yes.
There he is. Boom, Admiral. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Every backer counts, and if you guys dug what you're hearing and seeing here, definitely spread the word on whatever social media platform you're on. The link is below, and I'll drop it in the chat right here as well. And if you guys dug this and you're planning on backing it in the future, what you could do as well is hit this follow right here, this heart, and then I'm not signed in, but it'll turn red, and that means you're following it. You'll get any updates that Adam puts out for the campaign. You'll get that emailed. So it's kind of like a little reminder to grab this book later on.
Yes, it's good to be in indie comics. It's good to be creating art and unique things, and it's only possible with rad people like this chat. It takes rad people coming together. So thank you.
For sure. And you're going to be on, you said, another show tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to be on with Joe and Sean on art and stuff.
Perfect.
Yep.
Great show.
Yeah,
they're awesome. And guys, definitely go sub to that channel and check out that stream later tonight because Adam's going to be showing off something exclusive that is going to be added to the campaign. Is that right?
That's right.
Cool.
That is right.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to do a little update here for the Lost pages. And then we have another campaign I'm going to give a shout out to. But here is the Lost pages to everybody. We just put out an update video yesterday. So if you guys haven't checked that out, do so. But I'll just run quickly through what's going on. Thank you, everybody that's been supporting us on this. It's been a hell of a ride. And now we're into our last 30 days. So if you guys go to the update section, you can see, this new page, which from Max, I want to show off. Check this out. It's a new killer page. He's doing some cool zip tone stuff here. We got a scene where the bad guy, El Dorado, and his gang, his henchmen, are driving to their destination, and you get the ominous silhouette just appears in front of them. And El Dorado is kind of forcing the driver to run him off the road. As you can see here, there's empty spaces for this head because this is actually a drawn in tier. So one of the lucky backers that paid to be drawn into the comic is going to be this driver. So I'm really excited to see that. Lots of fun going into
That is awesome. What a great page, dude.
It's so cool. And this is a good example because we're actually, I'm having Alan Alonso, who did the Masquerade art for our first book. He's doing the layouts for Maxie on this. So this was a page where you get a lot of Maxie and a lot of Alan. These last two panels, Maxie changed and is like, hey, I think this is going to work out better. And yeah, he was totally right. This is more legible than how the layout was. But that extra layer of collaboration between the two artists is really fun. Actually, I could pull up just to show you guys for fun what this page looked like in the layout stage. And Alan really goes above and beyond to kind of write things out with these layouts. You could tell he's having a lot of fun with these. So this is the finished, and then this is Alan's layout, what was going on here. So you could see that different style, the going in here. Alan, much more cartoony and quick with his stuff, but he still has a lot of fun with it.
Cool.
So cool. Yeah, I hope we get to maybe one day just publish just the layouts would be really cool. But yes, going on to this, just like Adam was saying, he's got something new to his campaign, and so do we. So this pinup is unlocked for everybody. as a print by Matt Dalton. And the new perk is the Lost Scroll. And people saw this with our Magic Scroll for Magic Hop 2. But this time it's going to be a Lost Pages silhouette scroll, art by Jose Garcia. So you guys could pick that up in the update section with a secret perk with free shipping, or you can add it on. That's so cool. It's super fun. That and the only thing else to talk about with this is we have a new retailer pack, but the newest thing is if we get to 20K, we're going to unlock Kenneth Rocafort playing card. He did an awesome sketch for us, and that's going to be unlocked. So let's get more eyes on this so we can get to 20K and unlock that. And then the last thing, Adam, before we cut out of here, today, Goblin Girl launched. So
I backed it.
Yeah,
dude, I backed it.
I still got to back it today, but awesome art here. Billy Basco's doing some kick-ass colors. Look at that cover. One of the most fun comics that I've been just in anticipation for. This is going to be a hell of a ride. And another guy that puts out crazy fast pages in quantity too, quality and quantity. This book is a bunch of pages and it's going to be ongoing. So everybody jump on this because if you like blood, gore, and boobs, then you're going to love Goblin Girl. Goblins everywhere and just so much depth to these pages in here. A lot of fun. So check that out. I think he's over on Red Valkyrie right now. So if they're still live, jump on over to Shay's channel, Red Valkyrie. Let them know we sent you. Do a Zaid raid. Put that Zaid raid in the chat. And yeah, I guess that's it, Adam. It's been a great show. Are you muted?
Thanks for having me on, Phil. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody for hanging out in the chat. It's awesome. And Goblin Girl, it's exciting. Kids and Monsters, exciting. It's a great month for books. So that's for sure.
Yes, for sure. So back a book today, guys, and remember to spread the love. Share this out everywhere you're at, because even sharing really helps us to spreading the word. Because getting eyes on this that maybe don't run in the same circles as us, that's just more people that we could talk to and share these awesome stories with.
Okay, totally.
Cool. So until next time, guys, I will leave you with the Lost Pages 2 trailer, and then we'll see you guys. Have a good one.
Boom.
All right.